Hola and welcome to this full body workout in particular, but not only for tango dancers. I will guide you through 10 exercises that work on all your body parts to improve your strength, mobility and balance. But first, let's get your body ready with a little warm-up. This is to get your blood flow going and to loosen up your muscles before we start with the exercises. We start with gently shaking our arms and then going into arm circles to loosen up the rotator cuffs in your shoulders. Next, we bring one arm down, the other up, reaching over to stretch on that side. We turn our head to mobilize our neck. To mobilize our hip joints and to activate the posterior chain, we squat down and from there fly a bit around. Now we are ready to start with the workout. In the first exercise, we train the calf muscles, loosen up the hip joints, and work on the stabilizers and balance with Lapiz to back cross to single leg calf raise. During the Lapiz, pay attention not to raise your hip. When you get into the back cross, raise the heel on your standing leg so that you're on your tiptoes. Come back down again. Now change your weight to the other leg and start the sequence on the other side. Pay attention to your posture. Keep your body straight without tension from ear to ankle. Relax your shoulders and keep your scapula in a depressed position, which means your shoulder blades down and together. Now let's do 5 on each side. In the second exercise, with the Lapiz to single leg toe touch, we stretch the posterior chain, which are the muscles on the backside of your body, and we work again on the stabilizers and balance. Again, keep your hip low while doing the Lapiz. Don't collect from the back position, but tilt your body forward in the hip hinge. Try to keep your back and free leg as straight as possible while going down to touch your toes with both hands. Then bring your body up again, collect in the back cross, change your weight and start the sequence on the other side. Remember the scapular depression in your general posture. Now let's also do 5 repetitions on each side. third exercise, with a tango step lunge to a torso twist to an Ocho, we train the glutes and thigh muscles, stretch the hip flexor and work on the stabilizers and balance. Start with a good straight posture. Make a big tango step. To perform the lunge, keep your upper body straight, lower your hips in a straight line until both knees are bent at about 90 degrees. Make sure your front knee is directly above your foot and not in front of it. In the down position, rotate your upper body to the side of the front leg. Then push yourself back up in a straight line with both legs equally. Finish the step, collect the leg and pivot on the front foot and start the sequence with the other leg. Let's go, and do 5 on each side. Fourth exercise, we go from Jefferson curls to an inchworm to then perform 2 types of push-ups to train the chest, triceps, shoulders and lower back. From an upright shoulder-width stance, roll your upper body down, starting with your head, flexing the spine one vertebrae after the other. When you can touch the floor, inch your way forward until you are in the push-up position. From there, slowly move your body down until you almost touch the floor with your chest. Then, push your body slowly up again. Inch your way back and reverse roll your body up again, vertebrae by vertebrae, until you're in the upright starting position again. If the normal push-up is too hard, there are 3 variants you can choose from according to your level of fitness. The first is doing only a half range of motion, until the point from which you still can push yourself up again. The second is doing only the eccentric phase, which is just the downward motion in this case. And the third is to perform the push-up on the knees, while still keeping the upper body and thighs in a straight line. For all 4 of those push-up variants, keep the head, body and leg in a straight line. Activate the abs and squeeze the glutes. Go slowly down in a straight line, counting to 5, pause for a second, and then push yourself slowly up in a straight line again, also counting to 5. After 5 repetitions of this sequence, we will slightly change the push-up for the second part of this exercise. While the normal push-up of the first part focuses on the mid-chest, the so-called pike push-up from the second part activates more the upper chest and anterior shoulders. For the pike push-up, get your legs and upper body into a 90-degree angle, and then slowly do a similar movement as with the standard push-up. If the pike push-up is too hard, you can perform a variant on your knees. For all push-up variants, we want the upper arms at a 30 to 40 degree angle to the body. This is easily achieved if you place your hands at shoulder width beneath your body, with the index fingers pointing parallel to the body. And like with most exercises, we want to keep a scapular depression to protect our shoulder joints from unnecessary stress. Now it's time for 5 repetitions with standard push-ups and then 5 with pike push-ups. Now 5 repetitions with pike push-ups. the fifth exercise, we start with a side step projection to get into a lateral lunge and perform a side leg stretch and lunge stretch for the hip flexors. We also train the glutes, quadriceps and adductors. From the side step projection to the lateral lunge, make sure to arrive with your weight above the foot of your standing leg. Keep your upper body straight while moving down in a straight line. Feel into the stretch of your inner thigh. Turn around, keep your knee above your foot and stretch your hip flexor while maintaining an upright upper body. Turn back and push yourself up again with your standing leg. Then perform the sequence with the other leg. If getting up only with your standing leg is too hard, you can assist using your hands pushing on your knee, but try to let your leg make most of the work. If that's still too hard, you can get up with both legs. Let's do 5 with each leg. the sixth exercise, we will work on the core and spinal stabilization with the bird dog. Begin on all fours with a straight back, your hands directly under your shoulders and your knees under your hip. Extend one arm and the opposite leg until they are in a straight line with the back. For this exercise, we perform 2 times 5 repetitions on each side. 7th exercise, we perform a sliding lat pull down into a Cobra position to the child's pose to train our latissimus in the back and the biceps and triceps in our arms before we stretch our front and the lower back. Laying belly down on the floor, we pull ourselves forward with our arms and raise the upper body, feeling the stretch in the belly. From there, we move our hips back and feel into the stretch of our lower back. Then we glide back into the initial position. You can adjust the strength needed to pull yourself forward by the material between you and the floor. For example, a towel on a wooden floor or a plastic bag on a carpet. If that's still too hard, you can also perform the pull on your knees. Now, let's do 10 repetitions of this exercise. In the 8th exercise, we do 3 variations of the glute bridge to train the glutes and hamstrings and stretch the latissimus. First, we do 5 standard glute bridges. We start laying on the floor with bent knees and the feet on the ground. Then we squeeze the glutes to lift the hips off the ground until knees, hips and shoulders are in a straight line. Then we pull with the hamstrings to lower the hips again, and without resting them on the floor, perform the next repetition. Then we do 5 on each side with one leg straightened and in line with the upper body. And finally, we do 10 alternating between sides, twisting the upper body and reaching over with one arm. We make sure that when we alternate between sides, our butt doesn't touch the ground. So let's do 5 standard, 5 on each side, and 10 alternating between sides. 9th exercise, we do crunches to train the straight abs and the Russian twist to target the sides. For the crunches, lay with your back flat on the ground, hands touching but not pulling the slightly lifted head, knees bent and feet on the ground. Then roll your chest towards your legs, having the axis of movement in the belly, not in the hips. As an easier variant, you can have your arms next to your body, with your hands trying to touch your feet. For the Russian twist, slightly lift your upper body and feet, and then alternate reaching with one arm over to the other side. The axis of movement for the twisting motion is again in the belly, not in the hips. As an easier variant, you can keep your upper body and feet on the ground. Now, let's do 10 crunches and 10 alternating Russian twists. In the 10th and final exercise, we go from a back widow to floor slides to train the trapezius and activate the mid-back and shoulders. For the back widow, lay flat on the floor and have your upper arms perpendicular to your body with the lower arms pointing upwards. Now press your elbows into the ground and imagine to bring them together behind your back so that your upper body gets lifted up. Then bring your body slowly down again and tilt your arms so that your hands touch the ground. Now slide your arms over your head until the point where either your wrist, elbow or shoulder leaves the ground. Then slide back and return to the initial position. Let's do a final 10 repetitions. Now, after the workout, it's time for a cool down with light stretching to get rid of any tensions in the muscles. We will hold all stretches for 10 seconds and only go as deep as it feels comfortable and not painful. In our first stretch for our back, we lay flat on the back and hug one knee to the chest. Hold it for 10 seconds and then bring the knee across to the other side, keeping the shoulders on the ground. There we also stay for 10 seconds. And we switch to the other side. We get up and fold our body forward, gently hugging our legs, which should be straight, so we feel the stretch in our back and hamstrings. We do a big step and keep the hind leg straight, while pushing the heel into the ground to feel the stretch in the calf. Then we straighten our front leg on the heel and bring our belly button towards the thigh while maintaining a straight upper body to feel the stretch in the hamstrings. Finally, keeping the legs straight, we turn to the side and feel into the stretch of our adductors. Then we switch sides. To stretch our quadriceps, we stand on one leg and grab the other foot, pushing the knee in direction to the ground, while keeping a slight posterior pelvic tilt, meaning to rotate the pubic bone in direction of the belly button. Then we do the stretch on the other leg. We stretch our latissimus by first reaching one arm down, the other up, and then grabbing the upper arm by the elbow and leaning over, before we switch to the other side. To stretch our pectoralis, we lift our arms perpendicular to the body, with the lower arms pointing upwards. Then we gently circle our arms so we feel the stretch in our chest. We reach and grab both hands behind the back and gently lift them up, keeping the upper body straight to stretch the shoulders. To stretch the deltoids in the shoulders, we bring and extend one arm across the chest while maintaining scapular depression to keep the shoulder low. Then we do the stretch on the other side. To mobilize the shoulder blades a bit more, we roll the shoulders first in one direction and then the other. To mobilize and stretch our neck, we first bring our chin to the chest and then tilt the head back. Then, while keeping scapular depression, we bring our ear towards the shoulder, while pushing with the opposite hand downwards. We can gently use our hand to help to get into the stretch without pulling too hard. While keeping our body straight, we turn our head from side to side. Finally, we circle our head in both directions. Before finishing the workout, we flail our arms like a gorilla and then give our whole body a final shake. After the workout, we should not forget to rehydrate by drinking some water. Thanks for watching and goodbye.